I've got an old friend, Kurt Wimmer, who's a writer that I've had many sort of connections with over the years. Scripts that we nearly did, scripts that we didn't do. We haven't sort of done anything, and it was an opportune moment where we connected, and he passed me something. He slipped it to me. He'd just written it in the pandemic, and literally it was a page turner for me. And I was so excited. I said, we just got to do this, and we'll team up, and we'll make this happen very quickly. And the sort of gods aligned. We got David to come on board, and Chris Long and Cedar Park, and it became something very special. We took it to Cannes, and the response was it was really good, because you sort of have a taste of your own, but this one we felt that it had a universal appeal. It's a very sort of a touching film, if you like. It's quite dark, and it's a thriller, and it has lots of things that can shock and keep the action fans on the edge of their seats. But it does have a very strong sort of a very strong sort of meaning about right and wrong. It's about people that are vulnerable getting taken advantage of, and Adam Clay is a man that comes and sets those things and course corrects those moments. Well, there's a group of people that this kind of goes on every day, and they're scammers, and they make a phone call or they send an email, and they get people's attention by saying that they have a virus in their computer or something, and people don't know how to deal with those things, especially the elderly. And the elderly are the people that they target, because they're they live solitary lives. They don't have people to look out for them and protect them like young people do. So they that's their first line of attack, is to get their fingers into the bank accounts of the old and the vulnerable. It's their life savings go down the pan. Everything gets siphoned out. And there's no accountability for this. It just goes on, and it's a terrible thing that happens in society. We meet him. He's at the beginning of the film, and he's a retired sort of guy that just connecting with something that he has a love for, which is making honey and removing the honey from the hives. And he has this very sweet relationship with the honeybees, and it's the parallel between his actual title of being a beekeeper, which we find out later on what the real version of a beekeeper is when we come to this sort of governmental kind of special society. We pick him up, and he's living in the garden of a very sweet lady that, they have these exchanges of pleasantries every day, and they have a very sweet connection. It's almost like she's the mother he never had. Adam Clay is we don't know too much about him, apart from the fact that no one ever took care of him. So we can fill in the gaps about his childhood, and this lady is a significant thing for him in his life, that she has deep meaning, and when she becomes a victim of the cybercrime of the scammers that take advantage. And he decides to get in front of that and take it all the way to the top. And as the movie escalates, we get to understand that it's everything is much bigger than we anticipated it to be. Well, I think the more of the mystery that we can retain, the better it is, because when you tell too much about the guy, what we do know, he has an incredible skill set. He's almost like a super soldier that is there to protect society. When society can't protect itself, he's the person. The beekeepers come in to recreate the equilibrium, and that's what Adam Clay really stands for. Is one of these guys that doesn't really exist. He's almost like this ghost that comes in and course corrects what's leaning to the left when it should be right in the middle. Verona is the daughter of Eloise, which is the sweet lady that takes care of me, and I live in a barn in her back garden, and she makes me dinner, and I bring her honey, and we have this almost like a mother-son relationship. And when Verona turns up. She's an FBI agent, and she finds her mum sort of dead in a chair, and I'm at the scene of the crime. Adam Clay's at the scene of the crime. And so there's a very, sticky start for us too. And there always is going to be that, because she's on one side of the law and Adam Clay is on his side of the law, which is the right side. I mean, the law is the law, but when it fails, it's difficult to, sometimes the law gets in the way of what right and wrong is. The protocols of what's allowed can be obstructive. So Adam Clay takes the reins on that, and what's right and wrong is very important to him. I've been very lucky to work with David, and people like David are very rare. They're an auteur, they're a writer, a director. They have this immersive kind of obsession in film, and what David does on a film set is just unique. He can change anything he wants to change at that moment. We can rewrite on the spot. He's there holding camera. He's finding and fishing for the right angles. He works very closely with all, the DP, and he's a very cinematic, he's very photographic. And most directors, sit behind a monitor and, they can, call action and cut. But David's right there. He's on top of you in that scene. He's holding the camera, and you feel his energy. You know what he's trying to extract from you. He's very articulate, and he's very clear with what he needs. And it's all a man could ever want. It's a lot of people don't have that skill, and it's an innate skill to him. He's very gifted in that world. He's been rewarded for his writing. He's been rewarded for his filmmaking, and people are knocking down doors to work with him. So we feel very lucky that we were able to work together. And yeah, this is a very special one. I sit here now. The movie's over, and I can honestly say I've been inspired every day when I come in and work with him. The stunt team that we have has been second to none. We've got a young guy, Jeremy Marinas, coming in with his team from the US. And, we're trying to do something that is very visceral and, very shocking and believable. So we're not trying to do something overly spectacular in kinds of its dazzle. We're trying to keep things very real, very dangerous, and very efficient. And I think that's what Adam Clay does. He provides efficiency rather than something overly flamboyant in terms of the fancy stuff. So we've kept it very real and very, very almost military-driven kind of danger. And this is all driven by David. This is his whole vision. He's the leader. We come in, we have ideas, but really his ideas are never anything other than great. And we just want to exact those ideas. The heart of this movie is something that would translate to any country, any family, anywhere, any person that would have heard of something of this nature. That once we set things in motion, we're off for a ride. It's these scumbags really get taken apart, and it's the cause is so justified, and I think everyone has an attachment to someone in their family that might have been preyed upon, getting conned in some way. It's out there, and I think everyone in their life will have come across that in some way, whether it's within their immediate inner family or a friend or someone that has been taken to the cleaners, as they say. And it's not good. So I think there's a social justice to it that has a global appeal. There's all kinds of history to the power of the bee. There's remarkable things about honey. There's thousands of years old. They find pots of honey in tombs that you could still eat today. It never goes off. It never spoils or sours. It has some amazing qualities. You can set it on fire. There is, the ways that you know, the bees work. You know, without the bees, we wouldn't be here. You know, it's they're a very special, integral part of nature and the cycle of life. So, yeah, we've learned a little few things about the bees.